The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with light from 1,000 crystal panels. The air shimmered faintly with the hum of translation fields. Alien voices mixing into a single soft background noise. In the center of the hall stood the long oval table where the most powerful leaders of the galaxy met, each wearing robes or armor that showed their rank, their pride, their history. At one end, the council chair. A tall being with silver skin and a voice like ringing glass called for order. "Today we will discuss Project Titan," the chair said, "a design for a warship beyond anything in existence." A hologram rose above the table, showing the outline of a massive vessel. Its hull lined with strange weapons. Its size so large it blocked out light in the projection. Murmurs spread across the room. Some of the alien leaders leaned forward. Others scoffed quietly. This ship, the chair continued, would take a century to complete, even with the best resources, even with the best engineers. It would cost more than most planets can afford. No one can build it. A pause hung in the air, heavy and certain. Then a voice spoke, calm but firm. It was the human delegate, a man in a dark uniform, sitting with his hands folded on the table. His eyes steady. "Earth will build it," he said. Simple words. But they cut through the noise. The hall went silent for a moment. Then the first laugh broke. High and sharp, it was followed by another and another, until the great hall was filled with laughter. A scaled alien from the Dravic clans slapped. His claw on the table. "Humans. You can barely build ships that survive our outer sectors. You have no fleet, no ancient forges, no crystal reactors," he hissed. His teeth flashing in the light, a tall insectoid diplomat clattered her mandibles. "Even if you tried, you would fail before the first frame was laid. The void will eat your effort." The human delegate did not move. He did not smile. He waited until the noise died. "We will build it," he repeated, his voice even. "And when we are done, you will see it." The laughter turned into murmurs, whispers moving around the room. Some were mocking, others were doubtful, but a few were thoughtful, watching the human with narrowed eyes. The council chair finally spoke. "Earth may attempt this if they wish. But no aid will be given. No resources, no technology outside your reach. If you fail, do not ask for pity." The human nodded once. "We won't," he said. Then he stood, collected his datapad, and walked out of the hall. The echo of his steps ringing under the high ceiling outside the chamber. The wide streets of the council station were alive with travelers from 100 worlds. Some stopped to stare at the human passing by. A few whispered the news already spreading. The primitive species had just claimed it could build the impossible ship. In hidden corners of the station, messages were sent. "Watch the humans," they said. "See what they try to do, back on Earth." The human captain stood in the cold wind of a high mountain facility. Engineers in heavy coats moved around him, hauling equipment, setting up scaffolds. Below the mountain was a vast entrance, opening into an underground dock large enough to hide a fleet. Inside, metal frames were already being welded together. Sparks falling like rain. He looked at the first piece of the ship's skeleton. A dark steel arc, wide enough to fit a small shuttle through. "No one thinks we can do this," he told the chief engineer. A woman with grease on her hands and determination in her eyes. "Good," she said. "That means they won't be ready." When we prove them wrong, the captain smiled slightly. "We'll need parts, alloys, engines, weapons. Everything we can get our hands on," he said. The engineer nodded. "We'll take apart old ships. We'll trade, we'll scavenge, we'll make things work," she said. Above them, far away in the cold orbit of Jupiter, a second secret site was being prepared. Shielded from scanners by the planet's magnetic storms, no alien eyes would see what humans were building there. Crews moved in silence. Ships came and went without broadcasting signals. Every person knew the rules. No leaks, no messages. No talking outside the team on the Galactic Council station. Some laughed and forgot about Earth's bold claim. Others sent spies to listen, to watch, to catch any hint of progress. But the humans gave nothing away. The only thing the galaxy heard from them was silence. Yet, deep inside the secret shipyard, the sound of hammers, drills, and fusion welders never stopped. Piece by piece, the impossible was starting to take shape, and the humans worked with a quiet, relentless purpose, knowing that one day soon, the galaxy would remember the day they laughed in the council hall. Far beyond the crowded worlds of the Galactic Council, hidden in the cold emptiness near Jupiter's orbit, floated something no alien had ever seen. A massive frame of steel and alloy, anchored inside a hollowed asteroid. From the outside, it looked like a dead rock, lifeless and dull, but deep within. Humans worked day and night. The entrance was hidden under heavy blast doors, designed to seal the moment an unknown ship appeared. Only a few trusted freighters knew the approach pattern. Their hulls coated with heat-suppressing paint and their engines modified to hide from scanners. Each arrival was silent. Each departure left no trace inside the asteroid. The air smelled of metal and oil. The sound of welding torches and heavy machinery echoed through the wide chambers. The walls glowed faintly from the heat of the forges. Cranes moved like slow giants, carrying enormous ship parts from one section to another. The skeleton of the ship was already there, a dark, towering shape that stretched for hundreds of meters, its unfinished hull catching the light in sharp reflections. Humans climbed along its beams, fixing panels, sealing joints, running cables, every movement precise, every word measured. The captain walked across the central deck of the shipyard, his boots ringing against the steel floor. He stopped near the main reactor housing, a massive cylindrical chamber wrapped in coils of superconducting material. The chief engineer was there, her hair tied back, her hands blackened with grease. "Status," the captain said, his voice low but steady. "Frame is 70% complete." She replied, "Where?" "Short on hide-and-seek armor plating, but the scavenger teams are on it." The captain nodded. "Any sign of unwanted visitors?" "Not yet," she said, "but the patrol drones picked up a faint energy spike 2 days ago." Could have been a scout, could have been nothing. The captain's jaw tightened. He knew the galaxy would not leave them alone for long. In the docking bay, a small freighter was unloading crates, each marked with false cargo codes. Inside were salvaged parts, alien shield emitters, old fusion drives, sensor arrays from decommissioned warships, most of them damaged or outdated, but in human hands, they were treasures. Engineers here could turn scrap into something new. Nearby, a group of welders were working on the ships. Spine, long streams of sparks raining down into the darkness. The sound was like constant thunder, the heat pressing against their faces. One of them turned and saw the captain watching. He gave a small nod, and the captain returned it. No words were needed. At night, though in space, there was no real night. The shipyard's lights dimmed to save power. The workers slept in small bunks carved into the asteroid walls. But even then, the low hum of the construction never stopped. A small team always remained awake, checking systems, guarding the entrances, watching the sensors for the faintest sign of an intruder. Far away in the council station, rumors had begun to spread. Some claimed the humans had already abandoned the project. Others whispered that Earth had built something small and weak. A few believed the humans were actually making progress, but no one knew for sure. The secrecy was complete. The spies who tried to get close never returned with anything useful. They reported empty orbital stations, cargo manifests that meant nothing, and communication channels filled with ordinary trade data. It was as if the humans had vanished from the shipbuilding world entirely. One evening, a coded transmission arrived from the scavenger fleet. They had found something, a derelict alien battleship drifting near the edge of human space. Its crew long dead, its hull broken, but still holding valuable technology. The captain ordered immediate salvage within hours. Tug ships and cargo haulers were on their way. The battleship's remains were dragged back to the asteroid, stripped of weapons, shield cores, and rare metals. Some of the alien tech was incompatible with human systems, but the engineers smiled at the challenge. "We'll make it fit," one of them said. Weeks passed. The ship's hull closed in section by section, its long curves and sharp edges taking shape. Hidden beneath layers of armor was a network of human-designed weapon mounts, their exact nature known only to a handful of people. In the command tower, new consoles and display systems were installed, glowing with the faint light of active, captive circuits. The ship was no longer just an idea. It was becoming real, massive, and silent, its presence inside the asteroid like a sleeping predator. The captain stood on the highest walkway. Looking over the work below, he thought of the day in the council hall. The laughter, the mocking voices, the disbelief, he could almost hear them again. But now it only fueled his resolve. "They think we can't do it," he murmured to himself. "Good. Let them keep thinking that." Below, the engineers kept working, the welders kept welding, and the scavenger ships kept bringing in parts. The galaxy was still in the dark, unaware that in the cold shadow of Jupiter, something was being born that would one day shake every star system to its core. The secret shipyard near Jupiter had been running for months without a major problem. The humans worked in silence, the ship's shape growing every week, but the captain knew it could not last forever. The galaxy was curious, and curiosity in the wrong hands was dangerous. It began with small things: a missing crate of shield components, a security camera going offline for a few hours. At first, the chief engineer thought it was human error, a worker misplacing tools, or a simple malfunction, but then a power conduit in the aft section overloaded without reason. The explosion was small, yet it delayed construction for 3 days in the command room. The captain stood over the holly table, watching a display of the shipyard's security feeds. "These are not accidents," he said quietly. The chief engineer nodded. "Someone is trying to slow us down." The captain ordered patrol drones to double their routes, each drone equipped with scanners tuned to detect cloaked ships. The entrances to the asteroid were sealed tighter, and every shipment from Earth was searched 3 times before entering the dock. 2 weeks later, during the silent hours when most workers were asleep, the sensors picked up an energy spike. Faint, but unusual, hidden behind Jupiter's magnetic storms. The captain ordered all lights inside the shipyard to dim. Emergency crews stood ready in the darkness. A small shadow moved against the background of stars. A cloaked alien vessel, no bigger than a gunship, was approaching. It drifted slowly, avoiding direct scans, its hull dark and smooth inside. 2 alien operatives checked their equipment. They carried small magnetic charges designed to rip open hull plating. Their orders were simple: damage the ship beyond repair. Leave no trace, but the humans were watching, silent in their hidden control rooms. The captain waited until the enemy ship came close enough to the main dock doors. Then he gave the order: engage, in an instant. The shipyard's outer defenses came alive. Hidden gun turrets unfolded from the asteroid's rock. Energy bolts flashed across the void. The alien vessel tried to turn away, its cloak flickering under the strain. One of the human gunners scored a direct hit on its engines. The small ship spun out of control, striking a fragment of debris before vanishing into the black. The wreck was too far to recover without risking exposure. But the message was clear. The galaxy now suspected the humans were hiding something worth attacking. The next morning, the workers returned to their stations in silence. Some looked nervous, but the captain spoke to them, standing high on the scaffolding so all could hear. They want to scare us, he said. They want us to stop. We will not stop. That day, security around the shipyard became even stricter. Armored doors sealed every section. Armed guards stood at key access points. Even the engineers carried small shock pistols. The work continued, but now every sound, every flicker of light was watched carefully. In the council station far away. The failed sabotage was never officially reported, but whispers spread. Alien traders told stories of a hidden human base that shot down intruders. The council chair dismissed the rumors, yet quietly ordered more scouts to search the outer human territories. Inside the asteroid, the chief engineer found signs that saboteurs had already been inside once before. A ventilation panel had been removed weeks ago. And tiny tracking beacons were discovered on 2 cargo containers. They were destroyed immediately, but it proved the humans were being watched far more closely than they had thought. That night, the captain walked alone through the shipyard, his boots echoing softly on the steel floor. He ran a hand along the cold hull of the ship, feeling the ridges of unfinished plating. They'll try again, he said to himself. Next time, they'll bring more than a gunship. He knew they had to be ready, not just to defend the shipyard, but to protect the ship itself. Because the galaxy would not allow humans to complete a vessel like this without a fight, the workers sensed it too. Their conversations grew quieter, but their hands worked faster. The welding sparks burned brighter in the dim light, and the sound of construction became a steady heartbeat inside the asteroid, a sign that the project lived on despite the danger. Weeks passed, and the saboteurs did not return. But the tension never left. Every person in the shipyard knew they were building something that could change the balance of power. Something the rest of the galaxy feared, and fear always led to action. The captain met with his senior team in the command room. We will finish faster, he said, even if it means longer shifts. Even if it means sleeping in our work clothes, this ship will be ready before they expect it. The crew nodded. No one complained. They all understood. The shadow of sabotage had not stopped them. It had only made them more determined. The Seined Silence was more than steel and engines now. It was a challenge to every voice that had laughed in the council hall, and soon it would answer that laughter with silence. The shipyard had been tense for months. The failed sabotage attempt still fresh in everyone's mind, but the work never stopped. The Seined Silence now stood with its hull almost complete, the armored plates gleaming under the work lights. The captain knew it was time to see if the heart of the ship could beat. The heart was its engine, hidden deep in the central spine. It was a fusion of human design and salvaged alien technology, built to push the ship faster than any vessel of its size had ever moved. For weeks, the engineers had run small simulations, but this would be the first time the real core came to life. The captain gathered his senior crew in the control tower. The wide windows looked down over the ship's massive form. Below, workers were locking down panels, sealing fuel lines, and checking reactor shielding. The chief engineer stood at the captain's side, her hands resting on the console. "We're ready," she said. Her voice steady, but her eyes sharp. The captain nodded. "Begin startup sequence." A deep hum filled the air, a vibration that could be felt in the bones. Lights along the engine housing began to glow. First a faint blue, then brighter. The sound grew. A low roar echoing through the shipyard. The workers stopped to watch, their faces lit by the glow. "Power at 20%, called a voice. From the engineering station, the captain kept his eyes on the readings. Every number mattered. Every fraction of energy output had to be perfect. "Increase to 40, he ordered. The hum deepened. The floor trembled under their feet. The giant magnetic coils around the reactor began to spin, pulling space itself in tight folds. The readings stayed steady. The chief engineer allowed herself a small smile. 70%, the engineer at the console called. The captain glanced at the chief engineer, ready for full. She nodded. Ready? Do it, the moment the power reached 100%. The Seined Silence seemed to come alive. Its hull vibrated with restrained force. The deep blue glow of the engines turned to a blinding white for a second. It felt as if the whole asteroid shipyard might shake apart. Then the stabilizers locked in, and the vibrations smoothed into a steady, powerful hum. The captain let out a slow breath. "Engine test successful," he said, but inside he was already thinking of the next step. That next step came sooner than expected. The captain ordered a small-scale movement test, not inside the asteroid dock, but outside, in the empty space. Beyond Jupiter, the risk was high. If any alien ships were watching, they would see something they should not. But it was the only way to know if the ship could move like they intended. The workers moved quickly, sealing the outer doors. Air pressure hissed out as the massive blast shields opened to reveal the blackness of space. The Seined Silence floated. Forward on auxiliary thrusters, the size of it made the asteroid dock look small. "Engage main drive at 20%, the captain ordered from the bridge. The view ahead showed the cold emptiness of the asteroid belt. The engines flared. The ship began to move, slowly at first, then faster. The metal beams of the bridge groaned faintly under the shift in momentum. 40%, the captain called. The stars outside began to blur slightly. The asteroids around them seemed to drift backward. The crew exchanged quick looks. They had never felt a ship of this size accelerate so smoothly. 80%, the view ahead stretched as space folded around the ship. The Seined Silence surged forward like a predator chasing unseen. "Pray then," with a precise command, the captain cut the engines. The ship glided silently in the void, momentum carrying it 4 kilometers before slowing. "Report," the captain said. "All systems stable," the chief engineer replied. "No overheating, no vibration faults. Core efficiency is above projections." The captain allowed himself a small smile. "Good. Bring her back in." The Seined Silence turned slowly, drifting back toward the asteroid dock. The workers inside were already preparing to seal the doors. Again, what the humans did not know was that their test had not gone completely unseen. Far at the edge of sensor range, a small alien scout ship had been watching, its crew silent as they recorded the sight of a massive, unknown vessel moving at speeds no battleship should be able to reach. Their orders were clear. Take the recording and vanish before being detected back at the council station. That recording would soon cause heated debates, but for now, the humans still had the advantage. They knew the ship could move, and they knew it could fight. Though no one outside the shipyard yet understood just how much. Inside the asteroid, the captain stood alone on the bridge after the crew left. His hands resting on the controls, he could still feel the echo of the engine's power in his chest. He thought of the day the council had laughed at them. The memory made his voice a low whisper. Let them laugh while they can, in the quiet that followed. The Seined Silence sat in its dock, glowing faintly in the dark. No longer just a dream or a plan, but a living weapon waiting for the moment it would be unleashed. The Seined Silence had proven it could move. Its first test had been perfect. But the captain knew their greatest danger was still ahead. In the galaxy's political halls, whispers had started spreading. The humans were building something far too big, far too powerful. And certain species were not willing to let it live long enough to launch. In the cold space between worlds, alien fleets began to shift. Patrol routes changed without reason. Long-range probes started vanishing from the edges of human territory. Trade ships reported seeing warships drifting on routine watch. But the captain and his crew knew better. It was the tightening of a noose inside the asteroid dock. The work had turned into a race. Welders worked in pairs, sparks flying across the half-lit decks. Cables were run through narrow shafts, panels sealed into place with the hiss of bonding torches. Every corner of the Seined Silence was alive with motion. The chief engineer was everywhere at once, her boots ringing on steel ladders as she moved. From the bridge to the engine deck to the weapons bays, she barked orders without looking up from her datapad. "We finish the targeting systems by tonight. I don't care if you sleep on the floor." The captain walked the outer hull, his mag boots holding him steady against the curve of armor. The dark steel stretched endlessly beneath him, each plate locked into place with the precision of a blade. He stopped to check the seal where the forward weapons array met the main structure. The engineering crew gave a thumbs up, but their eyes showed the same worry he carried: they might not finish in time. 2 days later, the first warning came. A human listening post at the edge of the Sol system picked up a transmission in a scrambled alien code. The decrypted message was simple: "Observer fleet inbound. 9 ships." The captain read it twice, then sent a single order through the shipyard. No more outside trips, no more scavenger runs, full focus on completion. The asteroid dock sealed its outer blast doors, cutting itself off from the void. Every supply they needed was already inside. The workers knew there would be no more coming or going until the ship was ready. The sound of construction became a constant roar in the enclosed air. As the alien fleet crept closer, small scout drones began probing human space. The captain had the shipyard's hidden defense guns ready. Twice, they destroyed cloaked probes before they could transmit coordinates, but each one they missed could mean their position was compromised. Meanwhile, the ship itself was changing by the hour. The once empty hangars were now filled with sleek, human-built fighters, their wings folding neatly for storage. The main cannons had been mounted, their barrels hidden under retractable plating to keep their shape secret until the right moment. Shield arrays were powered for the first time, sending faint ripples of blue light across the surface of the hull. The chief engineer collapsed in two. A chair on the bridge late one night, her voice hoarse from shouting over machinery all day. "We're close, so close," she said, "but they're not going to wait for us to finish." The captain stood by the forward viewport, staring at the blackness outside. "Then we'll launch before they expect us," he replied, 3 days later. The warning came again. The alien observer fleet had entered Jupiter's orbit. The captain called every crew leader to the central briefing room. The air was heavy with the smell of oil and sweat. The walls shook faintly from the work still going on around them. "We are out of time," the captain said, his voice carrying over the hum of machines. "They will come here, and they will see us. We launch in 48 hours, ready or not." The room was silent for a moment. Then the chief engineer stood, her tired face breaking into a fierce smile. "Then we make it ready," she said. The next 2 days were chaos. Every hand in the shipyard worked without sleep. Systems were wired, weapons calibrated, life support tested and retested. The hangar doors of the asteroid dock remained shut, hiding the work from the outside on the final night before launch. The captain walked the length of the ship's main deck, pausing at each crew station, speaking to each person. Some were veterans of Earth's small defense fleet. Others were engineers who had never served in combat. All of them looked at him with the same determination. In the dark void outside, the alien fleet drifted closer, their scans sweeping the asteroid field, but the humans inside kept working, kept tightening bolts, kept sealing hatches. When the last system check came back green, the captain gave a single word into the com. Ready. The Seined Silence now stood complete, enough to fight. Not perfect, but alive. And in 48 hours. It would no longer be a secret. The asteroid dock had never been so quiet. After months of endless hammering, welding, and grinding, the silence felt heavier than the rock walls around them. Every worker, every soldier, every engineer stood at their stations waiting outside, hidden in the shadow of Jupiter, the alien. Observer fleet was already in position, 9 ships, their hulls gleaming with the marks of different alien worlds. Sat in a slow formation, their long-range sensors sweeping the asteroid field. To them, it was just another lump of frozen stone. But they had orders to confirm what the Council feared, that humans were hiding something dangerous here. On the bridge of the Seined Silence, the captain stood in the center. His eyes fixed on the dark display ahead. The chief engineer was at her console, running final system checks, her hands moving fast. All power systems steady, she said, her voice low. Weapons on standby. Shields at 50%. We can. Raise them on your word. The captain didn't answer right away. He could feel the hum of the ship beneath his boots, the low, steady heartbeat of a machine built to do the impossible. Down in the lower decks, crew members strapped into their stations. Fighter pilots sealed themselves into cockpits. Engines warming in the dim hangar light, the hum of power filled the air. A steady reminder that the ship was no longer just steel and wire. It was alive outside the alien fleet, adjusted position. One of their ships breaking formation and moving closer to the asteroid, its sensor beams brushing across the rock surface, scanning for hidden structures. The captain knew they had only seconds before the disguise was pierced. Open the dock, he ordered. Massive gears groaned to life. The blast doors of the asteroid shuddered and began to split apart. The first sliver of light from the dock spilled into space, widening with every second on the alien bridge. The commander of the lead ship stared at his screens, his jaw tightening. Something's inside. He muttered to his crew. The doors opened fully. And for the first time, the Seined Silence emerged into the void. Its black armor swallowing light, its vast hull stretching farther than the alien scanners had believed possible. It moved forward in complete silence. No running lights, no broadcast signal, only the slow, steady burn of its main engines. Gasps and curses filled the alien channels. Some of them had seen massive ships before, but nothing like this. Its shape was predatory, every curve and angle built for war, its surface bristling with weapon. Ports, most of them still closed, on the human bridge. The captain's voice was calm. Raise shields, power to full. Blue light rippled over the Seined Silence, wrapping it in a protective glow. Weapons bays slid open with the hiss of hydraulic locks, revealing the barrels of heavy cannons, missile tubes. And something stranger, a row of experimental energy lances that pulsed with an unsteady, dangerous light. The alien commander barked. Into his comm, all ships hold position. Do not engage. Repeat. Do not engage until the captain's voice cut across the open channel. Every alien ship hearing it. You said no one could build it, he said, his tone steady and cold. You were wrong, for a heartbeat. No one moved, no one fired. The Seined Silence hung there in the black. Fully awake now, its presence pressing against the nerves of every alien crewman. Then, slowly, the human ship began to move. Not away from the alien fleet, but toward it. The alien ships scrambled to adjust formation, their shields flaring to life, weapons charging. But none of them dared fire first. The Council had sent them to watch, not start a war, but the tension was so sharp it could shatter at any second. On the human bridge, the chief engineer whispered, "They're afraid." The captain didn't smile, he didn't blink. "Good," he said. The Seined Silence drifted to a halt just outside the alien formation, its size making even their largest vessel look small. Its weapons locked silently on targets, unseen but felt. The alien commander tried to regain control. "Human vessel. You are in violation of Council military construction laws. You will," the captain cut him off. "This ship is not yours to judge, and if you think you can take it, you're welcome to try." The channel went dead. The silence between the ships was heavier than before. In that moment, Everyone knew the truth. If the aliens fired, the humans would fight, and no one was certain who would walk away inside the asteroid dock. The workers who had built the Seined Silence watched from observation windows. Some of them had tears in their eyes, not from fear, but from pride. They had made this. With their hands, their sweat, their stubborn belief that the galaxy was wrong. About them, the captain gave the final order of the day. His voice steady. "Record this moment," he said. It's the day the galaxy stopped laughing. The Seined Silence held position in the void. Its black armor drinking in the starlight. Its engines glowing faintly. A predator surrounded but unafraid. The Seined Silence floated in the cold void, surrounded by 9 alien warships. The tension was sharp enough to cut on the human bridge. Every crew member was silent, their hands hovering over controls, their eyes fixed on the tactical screens. The alien fleet had been ordered to observe, but fear was a strange thing. It twisted orders, made commanders reckless. The humans could see the movement, small shifts in formation. The slow turning of heavy cannons toward the Seined Silence. The captain's voice was calm, weapons hot, lock targets on the lower decks. Massive cannons slid forward from their armored bays. Missile launchers rose from recessed housings. The energy lances along the ship's spine pulsed with an unstable, hungry light. Shield generators hummed, wrapping the ship in a deep blue glow. On the alien flagship, their commander stared at the human vessel. The size of it filled his mane. "Display, it's a bluff," he said to his weapons officer. "They can't have tested those systems yet." But before the alien fleet could decide what to do, one of their smaller escort ships broke discipline, whether from panic or misplaced courage. It fired. A single bright bolt of plasma cut through space toward the Seined Silence. The impact hit the shields with a flash of blue light, but the human vessel didn't flinch. The crew didn't panic. Instead, the captain gave his first combat order. His tone like steel returned fire in an instant. The Seined Silence came alive. Its main forward cannon fired a beam so bright it painted the dark void in white. The plasma tore through the escort ship's shields in less than a second. Slicing its hull open in a silent explosion of debris, the alien vessel spun. Lifeless into the darkness, gasps filled the alien cum channels. The rest of the fleet moved at once. Weapons blazing, energy bolts, missiles, and realgan slugs filled the space between ships. The Seined Silence surged forward instead of retreating, its engines flaring with sudden, brutal acceleration. The heavy armor absorbed the first wave of hits, shields holding strong. The human gunners answered with precision. Every shot aimed to cripple, not waste power. A missile streaked from the lower bay and slammed into the side of a cruiser, tearing away its weapons array. An energy lance locked on another ship. The beam burning through layer after layer of armor until the vessel vented air and fire into the void. On the bridge, the tactical officer called out. 3 enemy ships damaged, 1 destroyed, 2 more breaking formation. The alien commander shouted orders, but the chaos was spreading through his fleet. The humans were not only holding, they were winning, and they were doing it faster than anyone thought possible. The Seined Silence spun gracefully for a ship of its size, its thrusters firing in perfect sync. It cut across the battlefield like a predator striking from unexpected angles. Its guns tearing through shields before the aliens could reinforce them. Another alien destroyer tried to flank, coming in low under the human vessel. But the captain had already anticipated it. Lower deck batteries. "Now," he ordered. The underside guns roared. A rapid firestorm of railgun rounds punching holes through the destroyer's hull. Its lights flickered, then went dark as it drifted away. In less than 10 minutes, the battle was decided. 3 alien ships destroyed, 4 heavily damaged. The last 2 retreating under emergency warp, leaving the humans alone in the silent debris field. On the bridge, the chief engineer leaned back in her chair. Her voice soft but filled with awe. "We actually did it." The captain looked over the field of wreckage. "No," he said, his tone calm. "We proved it, inside the shipyard." The workers watching from the observation decks erupted in cheers, some hugging each other, others simply staring at the ship they had built, realizing what it had just done. But the captain's mind was already ahead. He knew the council would not take this lightly. Today they had won, but tomorrow the galaxy would come for them. Still, as the Seined Silence turned back toward the asteroid dock, its dark armor glowing faintly from battle heat, there was no fear on the human bridge, only the steady, shared knowledge that the laughter in the council hall was gone forever. And in the hearts of everyone aboard, one thought burned brighter than the stars outside. If they could do this once, they could do it again. And no one in the galaxy could ever again say, "Humans can't build it," without remembering the day they were proved wrong.